I knew something was wrong the moment the casket opened by itself, though I still can't bring myself to say what I saw inside. The funeral home was too quiet, like the walls were holding their breath. I felt the cold weight of eyes on me, even though the room was empty. Every flicker of the lights made my hands tremble harder, and the distant whispers tasted metallic, like fear pressing against my tongue. A soft tapping started from inside the coffin. Slow, then harder, then frantic. Shadows crawled along the walls, shifting in ways shadows shouldn't move. My heartbeat sounded like footsteps behind me, drawing closer with each second. And when the voice finally whispered my name, stretching it out like it already belonged to the dead, I realized the funeral wasn't for them. It was for me. At least, I think it was. Do you hear the tapping too? The first time I heard the laughter, it was faint, almost like the house inhaled and exhaled a sound it had stored for years. I froze at the bottom of the attic stairs, holding a box of my late aunt's belongings, wondering why it sounded like a child giggling through cupped hands. I told myself it was the wind, or the wood settling, anything but what it sounded like. But the laughter kept happening, always at night, always from above my bedroom, always followed by a soft patter-patter, like tiny feet scampering across old floorboards. I tried ignoring it until the night something new happened. The attic door, usually swollen shut from years of humidity, creaked open on its own. I stared up at the dark, thinking I saw the movement, just a vague shape leaning slightly over the opening, as if watching me. Every instinct screamed to close it, but curiosity won. I climbed the steps, each one groaning under my weight. The moment my head rose above the floor, the air changed, cold, sour, smelling like dust and spoiled fruit. And then I saw them, toy blocks arranged in a perfect circle, none of which had been up here before. In the center of the ring was a child-sized handprint in the dust, fresh, still warm, and behind me, from the stairs, a breathy, delighted giggle.
You finally came up to play.
Before I could turn, something small but ice-cold wrapped fingers around my ankle. The attic door slammed shut. The laughter didn't stop. It only got closer. I didn't run. I couldn't. The child stood inches from me, her hollow eyes glowing like dying stars, her laughter echoing inside my skull rather than the room. And then, she leaned forward, whispered something I'll never forget.
You finally heard me.
The attic went silent. The light steadied. The laughter stopped. But now, every night, no matter where I sleep, I hear soft footsteps above my ceiling. Slow, playful, patient. And sometimes, just before I fall asleep, I hear her tiny voice drifting down from the darkness.
Can I come back down now?
Do you think she's coming for you next? I should have admitted this sooner, but I can't pretend anymore. I'm not alone in my own home. Not at night. Not when the lights dim on their own. Not when the air grows thick enough that it feels like something is breathing with me. It started in my bedroom, my safest place. I'd lie awake, listening to the soft hum of the fan, the faint buzz of the old lamp, and the quiet tick, tick, tick of my clock. But some nights, the ticking echoed, like it was coming from the hallway. Other nights, I heard footsteps that didn't match my breathing, or anyone else's. At first, I thought I was imagining it, until the lights flickered, and the shadows twitched. I never see it move. I only see where it wasn't a moment ago. Always closer, always clearer, always waiting for the right second. Tonight, I finally understand. It was never trying to get into my room. It has been standing right behind me. I knew something was horribly wrong the moment I saw her silhouette in the upstairs window, because we buried her 5 years ago. The house at the end of the street always felt colder than the rest of the neighborhood, as if the wind avoided it. Tonight, as I walked past, the air shifted, sharp, icy, carrying the faint sound of someone softly humming a tune I hadn't heard since childhood. I froze. That was her song. Slowly, I lifted my gaze to the dusty second floor window, and there she was, my sister Marin, standing in the flickering glow of a dying bulb. She raised her hand and waved gently, repeatedly, exactly the way she used to when calling me inside for dinner. My breath caught. She looked wrong, too still, too pale, too aware that I was watching. The lights inside the house began to pulse, each flicker revealing a slightly different version of her, smiling, frowning, expressionless, watching me with hollow patience. Then, in the final blackout, her shape vanished completely. The front door clicked open. A whisper, cold as stone, slipped out from the darkness.
You saw me, so now you have to come inside.
Behind me, footsteps, soft, slow, deliberate, touched the sidewalk. I turned to run, but the same cold voice whispered again, impossibly close to my ear.
She's not the only one who remembers you.
Would you step inside?
They say the witch trials ended centuries ago, but something small still wanders the woods, whispering the names of the living. When the wind turns cold in Salem village, the locals know to shutter their windows, for that's when the child's footsteps return, light, playful, and centuries too old. Abigail Turner heard them just past midnight as she walked home from the library, each step behind her falling exactly after her own, as if mocking her rhythm. The street lamps flickered as she passed beneath them, their glow bending strangely, stretching her shadow into something thin and many-limbed. A faint giggle drifted through the air, soft, breathy, too close. Abigail froze. The giggle stopped. Then 3 small knocks tapped gently against her back, though no one stood there. A whisper brushed her ear. Found you. Running now, she stumbled into the old meeting house clearing. Moonlight revealed a tiny figure standing at the tree line, a little girl in the tattered colonial clothes, eyes black as soot, her feet hovering an inch above the dead leaves. Abigail blinked, and the girl vanished, leaving only a child's handprint burned into the frost at her feet. As the church bell tolled, distant laughter echoed from every direction, circling her. The cold deepened. The shadows leaned closer. A final whisper threaded through the wind, carrying a promise made of centuries of hunger. Now it's your turn to hide. The house sits alone at the end of a forgotten dirt road, looming like it has been expecting you. The air grows colder as you approach, as if the structure is drawing in your warmth. Shadows move behind cracked windows, even though the house is empty. The front door creaks open on its own as you step onto the porch. A faint whispering seeps out, like someone speaking from beneath the floorboards. The smell of damp earth curls into your lungs. Inside, the hallway stretches farther than the exterior should allow. Each step triggers soft footsteps, matching your pace, but belonging to someone behind you. A cold breath grazes your neck. Furniture sits arranged neatly except every chair faces the doorway, as if watching you. A rocking chair moves on its own, scraping across the floor with agonizing slowness. A whisper says your name. A tall mirror stands cracked down the middle. Your reflection lags behind your movement, then smiles when you don't. The glass pulses like breathing skin. You climb the stairs as the wooden steps groan beneath you. A shadow moves across the landing without a body to cast it. It stops and waits. A door at the end of the hallway rattles violently, as though something inside is desperate to escape. The knob twists on its own. Your heartbeat sinks with the pounding. Drawn by a faint sobbing, you find a narrow basement staircase. The air smells like wet stone and rot. Something moves in the dark below, slow and crawling. Figures emerge from the darkness, pale, eyeless, drifting toward you. Their mouths hang open as if inhaling your fear. The house groans like it's waking up. Walls pulse, floorboards twist, the entire structure tightening as if to swallow you. The ghosts stand behind you now, breathing in unison. The house has been waiting, not for a visitor, but for a meal. The first blow of the renovator's hammer echoes unnaturally through the Victorian home, as if the walls themselves react. Dust rains down in trembling waves, and a cold draft snakes across the floor. Beneath the boards, something whispers. Faint, desperate, aware. The hammer breaks through rotted wood, revealing an unexpected cavity below. A deep, stale breath seems to escape the darkness, like something exhaling after a long confinement. Everyone freezes when the whispering grows louder. They descend into the hidden space, discovering a small, sealed wooden door, bolted from the outside. The door trembles once sharply, like something behind it reacts to their presence. A muffled voice whispers, "Please, let us out." A sharp knock erupts from behind the sealed door, too strong, too frantic. The air grows colder, frosting the lantern glass. A second knock follows, accompanied by a low, hungry moan. The bolt snaps on its own, dropping to the floor with a metallic clang that echoes unnaturally long. The door creaks open an inch, revealing total blackness inside. Something breathes from within, slow, excited. Figures emerge. Twisted, human-shaped silhouettes dragging themselves onto the floorboards, whispering in overlapping voices. Their eyes glow faintly, like embers smoldering in darkness. The renovators stumble back, too terrified to scream. One of the ghosts speaks directly, its voice layered as if dozens are speaking through it. "They sealed us here," it whispers, "but we're so hungry now." A hand reaches for the nearest worker's ankle. The renovators bolt toward the stairs, but the lights above flicker violently, and then die. Heavy footsteps follow them. Too many. Too fast. The whispers become screams. The entire Victorian home begins to shake, groaning like a living thing disturbed from sleep. Doors slam shut on their own, locking the workers inside. The whispering floods every room. As the workers huddle in a corner, the spirits surround them, whispering in perfect unison, "Thank you for letting us out." The lights flicker once, and the floorboards begin to open beneath them. The renovators fall through the breaking floorboards, dropping into the glowing void beneath the house as the spirits descend after them like a storm of shadows. The last thing they hear is the house groaning in satisfaction, ancient wood cracking like a creature swallowing. Above, the floor seals itself shut, erasing all evidence they ever existed. Evan, a paranormal YouTuber, slips down the motel's flickering hallway, stopping at room 19. The one locals refuse to speak about. The door is swollen, warped, and cold enough to burn his fingertips. He begins recording as the hallway lights stutter like a dying heartbeat. The lock gives way with a groan that sounds disturbingly human. A wave of cold air rushes out, carrying the smell of standing water and old breath. His camera glitches as he steps inside. The mirror suddenly clears on its own, revealing a bed behind him, perfectly made, though in reality it's shredded. As Evan turns, the bed remains destroyed, but in the reflection, a pale woman sits up. The woman in the mirror doesn't move her lips, yet a whisper curls into his ear. "You came back." The temperature plummets so fast, frost blooms across his camera lens. Something cold touches the back of his neck. Slow, deliberate footsteps begin overhead, pacing in circles. Then they stop directly above him. Plaster dust drifts down like falling ash. The bathroom door slowly creaks open on its own. The darkness inside is thicker than the room's shadows, swallowing light rather than reflecting it. A damp, dragging sound comes from within. Evan shines his light into the bathroom, revealing a bathtub filled with pitch-black water. As he inches closer, bubbles break the surface. Slow, intentional breathing. Then a pale hand rises. The wallpaper begins to peel in long strips, revealing dozens of faces underneath. Distorted, screaming, smiling. They move. They watch. Evan reviews his camera screen. Every frame shows the woman behind him, even though he sees nothing when he turns. With each new clip, she stands closer. In the final one, she's inches from his cheek. He runs for the door, but it slams shut with bone-cracking force. The lock turns on its own. The temperature drops until the air feels sharp enough to cut. Glass cracks behind him. The woman from the reflection crawls through the mirror, bending unnaturally, her joints popping like breaking twigs. Her smile widens beyond what a human face should manage. The camera drops as she reaches him, recording only his choking breaths and the rustle of her dragging hair. The lens slowly tilts toward the mirror, where the room is once again neat and empty. On the bed, she sits smiling, waiting for the next guest. During the night shift, 2 security guards find a rusted steel door at the end of a maintenance hallway. A door they swore wasn't there yesterday. Cold air leaks from the seams, carrying a faint smell of antiseptic and rot. Their flashlights flicker as the lock slowly clicks open on its own. The guards descend a narrow concrete stairwell that spirals deeper than the hospital's blueprints suggest. A distant metallic clatter echoes far below, followed by slow, dragging footsteps. The temperature drops until every breath becomes a white mist. At the bottom, they step into an abandoned underground wing filled with rusted hospital beds and overturned wheelchairs. Ancient fluorescent bulbs flicker sporadically, creating a stuttering rhythm of light and dark. A whisper floats through the hallway. Visitor or patient. A figure steps out from behind a bed, pale hospital gown torn, eyes clouded with milky white. It stands motionless until they speak. Then its jaw opens far too wide, emitting a faint gurgling wheeze. More shapes rise slowly from the shadows. They flee into a side room and realize too late it's an old autopsy chamber. Stainless steel tables are still stained with darkened residue. A refrigerator door slowly creaks open, revealing a body bag that begins to move. The body inside erupts from the bag, contorted backward, crawling on all fours like a twisted insect. Its bones crack with every movement. It skitters toward the guards with unnatural speed. The guards run, only to hear whispers echoing from air vents above them. Each vent hums with voices begging for help, crying, screaming, or laughing. One whisper matches the voice of a guard's deceased mother. A morgue cart begins rolling toward them on its own, wheels screeching. It stops inches away, the sheet covering the body beneath rising, as if something inside sits up. They back away slowly. One guard notices a trail of fresh blood that wasn't there before. It leads directly behind them. When they turn, a woman in a blood-soaked gown stands inches away, whispering,
"We never left."
Panicked, they sprint down the corridor, but realize every turn loops them back to the same intersection. The lights go completely dark. The whispering turns into screams. One guard vanishes mid-step, his body dissolving into a swirl of pale mist. His voice echoes from everywhere at once. "Don't let them touch you!" The remaining guard backs against a wall, only to feel cold fingers reach through it. Dragged into darkness, he awakens on a rusted hospital bed, surrounded by spectral patients watching silently. One leans over him, whispering, "You've been admitted." The lights go out, and the last thing he hears is the monitor flatlining. Rain hisses against the ruined church as the photographer steps inside, his breath frosting in the dead air. The shattered roof reveals a sky the color of bruised skin, and something moves in the rafters where no living thing should. His camera clicks once, echoing too loudly. As he moves deeper, the walls begin to whisper, soft, broken voices calling names long forgotten. The temperature drops so sharply his fingers numb around the camera. A faint sob leaks from the darkness ahead. A woman in a torn choir robe materializes, drifting backward as if pulled by invisible hands. Her mouth opens in a silent wail before her face fractures like shattered glass. The photographer stumbles, dropping his lens cap. Behind him, footsteps scrape across the stone, slow, dragging, unmistakably human. He turns, but the nave is empty except for drifting dust motes. The footsteps continue, circling him. Dozens of pale figures emerge from the pews, their limbs wrong, twisted as if crushed under debris, their mouths open in unison, but the sound is a low, vibrating hum that makes his teeth hurt. They slowly turn their heads toward him. Soft, wet footsteps echo behind him. He spins, nothing but swirling dust. Then something exhales directly against his ear. The floor collapses beneath him and he drops into a hidden crypt filled with mud and broken coffins. Human bones jut from the soil like pale roots. A humming sound vibrates through the chamber. The bones shift, slowly. Then all at once, skeletons drag themselves upright, dripping mud, jaws snapping with hollow hunger. The sewn-mouthed spirits drop from above, falling like silent marionettes. They land without sound, circling him. He can't breathe. His camera fires one final time as cold hands close around his neck. The flash reveals the entire parish gathered. Hundreds of spirits staring at him with hollow, resentful eyes. Then the darkness swallows him.
Thank you for watching C&T Horror Stories, where the shadows speak and the night never ends. If you made it this far, you're braver than most. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because there are many more stories waiting in the dark, and they're getting impatient.